Thank you for joining me for another segment of A View into the Collection. My name is Amy and I'm the Curator of Collections at the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center. With the assistance of our registration specialist, Hannah Weston, we are responsible for the care and thoughtful management of 4,500 works of art. We are honored to be the Cultural Center's caretakers of our Pueblo cultural heritage. Whether you follow each quarterly view into the collection segment, or this is your first time joining us, we appreciate the time you take to listen and watch our short videos. As a refresher, especially for those viewing for the first time, the idea to produce these segments grew out of our desire to share more of our museum art collection. The process helps our small staff bring out those works of art not seen by the public, either because you, our viewers, are unable to visit the Cultural Center in person, or because these selected works in clay, on paper, or other mediums are currently maintained in storage. That said, in this segment, I intend to share collection items associated with our most precious resource, water. In my last segment, I shared images and information about clay-formed canteens utilized by our Pueblo people. I discussed the necessity of hydration during these hot summer months. This summer, many of us are experiencing extremely high temperatures, so I thought I would continue to focus on water, both as a resource and how it can be represented in various art forms. In the Southwest, we are used to hot and dry summers. We all breathe a collective sigh of relief when the annual monsoon rains hit. The smell of the earth after a hearty rainstorm is something we all love. It is during the summer months that we find ourselves eating fresh-cut slices of watermelon to help quench our thirst. You might be asking, what does watermelon have to do with Pueblo art? If you ever had the opportunity to see some of our Pueblo dances, you might have seen the figure called a Kashare. With bold black and white horizontal stripes from head to toe and corn husks poking out the top of their heads, oftentimes the revered Kashare are accompanied by watermelon. These figures are at once entertaining, who with their antics play a vital role as keepers of societal behavioral norms. Their standing and significance to many in our Pueblo communities is captured in clay figurines or with paints on paper. I knew we had some Kashare figures in our collection, and when I spent time looking through our collection storage, I was pleased to see we had a modest yet adequate representation. The first Kashare figure I want to share was made by a Jemez Pueblo artist named Resourcefulness. Many of her works are of Kashare figures and storytellers, formed and painted in a similar and recognizable style. Red, black, and tan clay and mineral paints are used to form broad areas of design. A single corn husk rises from the heads of the adult and child figures, and I love her fine polish on the adult's shawl. The large slice of watermelon is carefully held by the adult figure, and I love the way she formed the hands as flat paddles. Something about the overall rounded edges of the storyteller melded with her meticulously applied designs draws you in. She signed her work on the bottom, and this work was a gift from the family of Bonnie Marcus. This vibrant and cheerful Kashare figure by Randy Chitto is not only charming, but also brings a smile to my face every time I see it. In his artistic rendition, Chitto chose a turtle as the foundation for his Kashare storyteller figure, with 3 baby turtles added to its lap and a canteen slung over the shoulder. The many black and white stripes form a dizzying array of excitement. Yet our eyes are immediately drawn to the bright red slices of watermelon held with outstretched turtle arms, tempting us to grab a slice. Randy Chitto lives and works in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and grew up in Chicago after moving there with his family from the Choctaw Reservation in Mississippi. He found he had a knack for working with clay while a student at the Institute of American Indian Art in Santa Fe, which is where he met his wife, Jackie Carpio of Isleta and Laguna Pueblos. His turtle storytellers have won many awards over the years. In my research, I found that Chito utilizes the turtle because it is tied to his roots. In his Mississippi Choctaw culture, the turtle is considered their story keeper and storyteller. In their culture, the turtle keeps narratives shielded and protected under its shell until it is ready to share them. The next work was made by Isleta Pueblo potter Stella Teller. In her interpretation of Kashare, she opted to create a collection of 6 figures. 3 Kashare figures sit upon or are in the process of hoisting themselves onto an adobe wall. One leans in front, appearing to yawn, while the other 2 remaining Kashare figures pose in an active stance. The 6 Kashare appear in mid-play and performance as one would see them if sitting in a plaza waiting for the dancers to arrive. The scene Stella set by including an adobe wall is brought to life with each figure formed in an active posture. What we don't see is the enticing slice of watermelon. However, if, like me, you are familiar with the drama and play of Kashares during dances, it is easy to feel the heat of a summer day. Maybe you are eating a slice of watermelon as you giggle at their antics. At the School for Advanced Research, Stella Teller was their first Eric and Barbara Dobkin Native American Artist Fellow. Of her experience there, she said, quote, "The experience at the Indian Arts Research Center has made me feel more appreciated in the art world. Sometimes ribbons and sales are not enough to make you aware that there are people out there who care about your work." End quote. During her 3-month tenure at the School for Advanced Research, Stella created a female figure holding a pottery vessel titled Gifts from Mother Earth. Her clay creation illustrated how Mother Earth provides her gift of clay to the Pueblo potters, just like water, which is an essential element used to mix with dry clay. Water, our treasured and respected resource, added to clay, creates the pliable clay from which pottery vessels and figures are made. A final clay Kashare figure is another delightful interpretation created by renowned Jemez Pueblo potter Kathleen Wall. Her figure stands with a big, bright smile holding a slice of watermelon. The figure looks to the left with a sly hint of mischief. The natural red and tan with black details is embellished with thin black suede and corn husks. Kathleen's Kashare figures are recognizable, and of them she says, quote, "The Kashare, the way I make it, is part of the storyteller motif. The simplicity of the storyteller lets me focus on the personality and the face of the figure that has become my signature piece." End quote. In the Pueblo way, the Kashare is acknowledged as a clown, however, not simply a comical jester, but a more complex being who can invoke rain and offer what may seem an unwelcome, on-the-spot scolding disguised in humor and play. Just when we thought the Kashare figures were created solely with clay, we have this astonishing tableau crafted with commercial glass beads. 7 meticulously beaded Kashare figures sit on and around a tree, with one silly figure swinging from a tree limb. Each figure holds a slice of watermelon except for the swinging figure. Though I don't know who made this remarkable tableau, I do know that was an artist from the Pueblo of Zuni. In a 1989 article in American Indian Art magazine, Ostler and Rohde wrote, quote, "Older bead workers say that during the 1920s, traders suggested the beading of small dolls as curios." End quote. Though I am uncertain if this is true, the article also states that Anglo trader C.G. Wallace initiated beadworking at Zuni due to the difficulty of shipping fragile pottery. The Kashare figures were made often, but usually as standalone beaded works. That makes this multi-Kashare work of art quite unique. Finally, this miniature painting of a Kashare eating a watermelon was painted by San Ildefonso Pueblo artist J.D. Roybal. He was born in 1922 and was most prolific from 1960 to 1970, which is the approximate date this was created. As it turns out, his subject of choice was the Kashare figure. He captures the subject kneeling on one knee after taking a bite out of one half of a watermelon. His steady and delicate fine lines are enhanced with light shadowing of the figure. Though he kneels in a space with no ground plane and no background or sky scenes, his careful attention to detail provides the Kashare enough weight and a true-to-life feel. As happens in each segment, I run out of time. My intention was to share a few more works associated with water or water symbols. However, that will need to wait for a future view into the collection segment. I hope you enjoyed this segment featuring various representations of Pueblo Kashare figures. Thank you.